New patch, same NightBlade question. Which NightBlade is better? MagBlade or Standblade? And I'm just gonna say it right now, MagBlade. Don't believe me? Let's take a look at that montage. Alright, cool beans. Hope you guys did enjoy that small montage. I'm Hex. I'm gonna be going over my updated MagBlade build for the Scribes of Fate patch. Honestly, MagBlade just feels great. Didn't get nerfed. I'm just gonna say it right now, I'm surprised MagBlade didn't catch a nerf. If anything, it caught buffs with the new monster sets. I mean, MagBlade just does crazy healing, has crazy like utility depending on if you want to run Cloak or the Shade or the Path. But it obviously has the most insane burst. This is the only class in the entire game that you have potential to burst any sweat. But how do we get this strong NightBlade build in order? Stick around to the build and I'll show you exactly how. But before we get started, if you guys can hit the subscribe and like button, really does go a long way and I greatly do appreciate it. Also leave a comment down what you guys want to see next. But without further ado, let's in-cap bow our way into the build. Alright, so for the first skill we do run is Power Extraction. I mean, this is a skill that's just mainly meant for the buffs. Gives you our Major Brutality and Sorcery, so our 20% weapon and spell damage. Grants us Minor Courage for 30 seconds. And applies Minor Cowardice, reducing their weapon and spell damage by 215. This skill is cracked. I'm going to explain why reducing their weapon and spell damage is so strong once I go over the next skill. Mass Hysteria, the official name, everyone just calls it Fear. This skill, I absolutely love it. Not only is this great for, putting stand pressure on the opponent, relieves pressure off you, but it puts Major Cowardice for 12 seconds. Major and Minor Cowardice, over 600 weapon and spell damage reduced from the enemy. Not only are they doing less damage, that's less weapon and spell damage they have for their heals. Yeah, it's pretty cracked. Next we do run is Camo Hunter. Camo Hunter is pretty much mandatory on this build. This is how we get our major crits and obviously that small passive of Minor Berserk. Like, it's just a really good skill to have slotted. Next we do run is March the Resolve. This is our bow proc. I mean, we all know what it does. Being able to get up to 300 weapon and spell damage, convert this into the bow proc to do a ridiculous amount of damage and heal for half the damage done if we're within melee range, which we should be. One thing I didn't know this, thank you Chump Grand for telling me this ability actually hits way harder than your end cap. Your end cap's only doing 13k damage unbuffed on this build. Unbuffed, our bow is at 18k. Next skill we do run is Concealed Weapon. Like, all NightBlade skills are just bloated now. This is our main spammable, can set them off balance. While slotted against Miner's Expedition, the main thing is when you leave Sneak, Invisibility, or Major Expedition ends while in combat, for us, Major Expedition, your damage done is increased by 10% for 5 seconds. That is basically a unique form of Major Berserk we get. Yes, this thing just buffs our whole kit and makes our bow do 10% more damage. Just sign me up. And next ulti we do run is Incapacitating Strike, most commonly referred to as Incap. This is a very controversial ulti. Do I think it's full cheese? Yeah, maybe. Not as cheesy as it once was way back in the day. The reason I run Incap is just for that stun alone. Being able to guarantee a stun. If I stun the target, that bow proc is hitting and you're getting absolutely deleted if it crits. And we have high crits, so more than likely it's going to crit. For our back bar, we do run Race Against Time. This is basically our stair meeting that just happens to grab Major Expedition and Minor Force. Okay, thank you. Next skill we do run is Elisus, Major Breach, Burning, Chilled, and Concussed. We all know what happens when you proc Chill with an Ice Staff, which we do have equipped. Puts Minor Bird on the target, making them take 10% more damage from crits. Hello, are you insane? Next skill we do run is Resolving Vigor. Basically our burst heal a lot over 5 seconds and grants us Minor Resolve. Next skill is what I would consider the flex spot. The main skill that I do like to run is Refreshing Path. Puts a small hot on the ground, grants us Major Expedition, and gives us Minor Stamina and Magicka Recovery. Every time this ticks, this refreshes Major Expedition, which procs our concealed 10% bonus damage. This is how we get 100% uptime on the 10% damage. But if you want to run Cloak, you can obviously put Cloak here. Or if you want to run the Shade, you could run the Shade. I tried them all. The shade, really sweaty. The cloak, very good for survivability. Refreshing path, good hop, mostly just there for the damage, like guaranteed 10% damage. Up to you. Next skill we do run is Healthy Offering. This is our burst heal. Heal a lot over 11k, and it has a quote-unquote downside. You take 270 damage every second for 3 seconds, but you gain minor mending for 10 seconds. But I don't know what they were thinking, but whatever. And for our back bar ultimate, we do run Temporal Guard, mainly just for the passive. While slotted, gain minor protection. Alright, but enough of that. Let's go over the stat sheets. So our fully buffed stat sheets: max mag is over 25k, max health over 32k, max ammo over 17k. Our mag recup is just shy of 2k, and our stam recup is at 1760. Are you serious? On a build with no wretched vitality? So now one of our sets requires to be in PvP to have Battle Spirit active. I think we all know what set that is. Our fully proc weapon and spell damage is at 6359. That's not including our 600 weapon and spell damage to our magic abilities. So basically that's over 7k weapon and spell damage we have. Now our weapon crit is at 47%, and our physical and spell pen is at 7430. We have access to Major Breach, which is an extra almost 6k pen, and potential Minor Breach, which is almost 3k. But what makes this build so great is our crit damage. We're doing over double damage when we crit. Now let's check our resist on our back bar real quick. Can't forget about that. So our spell resist is over 29k, and our physical resist is over 26k, and our crit resist is over 3700. Yeah, we are super tanky. Crits aren't bursting us at all. Now for the Mundus, we do run the Shadow. The Shadow makes us hit absolutely so hard. If you are having a little bit more sustain issues, you could run the Atro or the Serpent. Now for our food, obviously Jewels of Mistral or Zofka Smoke Baron Challenge if you got deep pocket. And obviously we are a stage 3 vampire. Why? Because of one simple passive: Undeath. The lower health we are, the tankier we become. For my race, so yeah, I am a Dark Elf. I know you're yelling at me saying, why aren't you Khajiit? Dark Elf, still really good. Increase our max mag and max stamina by over 1900. Resist flame over 4600 flame resist, which is really good. Since we are a stage 3 vampire, DKs absolutely shred us, so this kind of keeps them in check. And Ruination increases our weapon and spell damage by 258. But obviously some great alternatives. Khajiit, High Elf could maybe work. Breton could work if you want more sustain. The other ones I kind of wouldn't really focus too much on. Alright, but enough of that. Let's go over the sets now. Alright, so for the first set we do run is, lo and behold, Rallying Cry. I mean, Rallying Cry is just, it's probably one of the best sets ever added to this game. The fact that it makes this so strong is we get 300 weapon and spell damage and 1650 crit resist for 20 seconds. That's 25% crit damage reduction from the bonus damage of crits. The thing that makes it so powerful is that it's back barable. Now for our monster set we do run is the new set added in Scribes of Fate, Roxa the Warped. This set is honestly really good. Like, the amount of sustain you can get from this set is crazy. The 1-piece, 70 mag, stam, and health reco. The 2-piece, each second you are in combat you gain a stack, up to 30 stacks max. Each stack increases your health, stam, and mag reco by 8. Each second you are out of combat you lose a stack. So at full stacks, this grants us up to 240 mag and stam recov. Obviously we do run 1-piece training because this is a meta front bar back bar setup with a mythic. But why 1 training? Because we do have 1 slot available, so why not put training? Gives us the most max health for a 1-piece. But what mythic is that? I mean, should you even ask at this point? Market and Ring of Majesty, anybody? Hello? Let's just flatter it to flatter it. Being able to get 200 weapon and spell damage and over 2300 armor just free, here you go with this build, don't even have to think. And for the main set we do run is War Maidens. I absolutely love War Maidens. The 2 to 4 piece is really good. The 5 piece adds 600 weapon and spell damage to our magic damage abilities. Our spammable and our bow is all magic damage. Now you might be asking, why are you running in-cap? Why not run Soul Harvest? The thing is, like I said in the skills, I need to stun. That's the reason we run in-cap. I need to stun you. If I stun you, I'm guaranteed that bow proc. And if they all crits, good night. Hope there's a keep nearby for you to res that. This is honestly really good. Some alternatives, obviously, if you don't want to farm this or you just don't want to buy it, you can obviously just craft Order's Wrath perfectly fine. So now the way we run it, I did swap to double axes, and honestly double axes like super dummy hard. For those that don't know, each axe increases our crit damage done by 6%. Obviously, if you still have your daggers from last patch, perfectly fine. For the enchants, I do run an absorb stam enchant and a shock damage enchant. Absorb stam enchant can proc minor breach, and shock damage can proc minor vuln, just in case our ally says falls. Now for the traits, I do run Nernhone on the main hand and Precise on the off hand. Now for the back bar, I do run a Rallying Cry Ice Staff. Please make it an Ice Staff for ally says to proc minor brittle. I do run an Onslaught enchant, obviously defending because tankiness is next to godliness. Now for the body, I do run 4-2-1. 4 light, 2 heavy, 1 medium. So for my heavies, I do run a heavy Roxa head and a heavy chest of the training. For my 1 medium, I do run a medium shoulders of Roxa. And for my light, I do run a sash of the War Maiden, hands, legs, and feet of Rallying Cry. For my jewelry, I do run a War Maiden neck and ring, and a market and ring of majesty because it only comes in a ring, duh. All infuse, all weapon and spell damage enchants with mag recup. Obviously, if you have the stand recups, it wouldn't make or break the build. So the way to make these is Rapora, MagDaddy, Kuda. Now for the food, good old Jills of Mistral is perfectly fine. Grants us a lot of health and recup of everything. But if you got a deep pocket or don't mind spending a little extra, or Zaka Smoke Bear Haunch, little more recup but 400 more max health. And for our pots, just good old tripods. Gives us recup of everything. Alright, but enough of that, let's go over the CP now. Alright, so for the blue CP, we do run Fighting Finesse. Increases our critical damage, critical healing. Focus Many, increases our healing done with single target heals. Master at Arms, increases our damage done with direct damage attacks. And Ironclad, reduces our damage taken from direct damage attacks. For the red CP, I mean standard seal of approval Hex CP. Celerity increases our movement speed by 10%. Honestly, in my opinion, the best CP in the entire game. Survival Instinct, while affected with the status effect, our core combat skills cost up to 25% less. Relentlessness, being set under fear grants us major protection for 3 seconds. And Pain's Refuge, the more negative effects we have active on us, the tankier we become. And for the green CP, doesn't ever really matter. Rationer, Liquid Efficiency, Gifted Rider, and Sea's Blessing. But alright, cool beans, that's the build. Hope you guys did enjoy the build video. Honestly, MagBlade, I'm just gonna say it. I'm never gonna say no to MagBlade. MagBlade is so much fun. I was waiting to make a build for MagBlade for an updated build, and honestly, I'm just loving it. Double axis hits really, really hard. But as always, hope you guys did enjoy the build video. Like the video if you liked it. Comment your thoughts or experiences with the build. Also, anything I might have missed out or what video I should do next. Subscribe for more. But most importantly, stay zerging.